When I was 20 years old, I played hockey for Cleveland in the North American Hockey League. And our season started in August, and in January I got hit in the face with a puck. And that puck shattered my nose in 3 different directions, deviated septum, cut the nerves between my teeth and my mouth. It was an awful experience. Probably the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. And I hit an emotional wall when that happened. The previous year I played 77 games in Ottawa, and I was at an emotional wall like I never experienced before. I was done. I'm titling this talk to you today, "The Wall," and there's 2 types of walls that you can hit. You can hit a physical wall. Your body's just completely depleted of resources, nutrition. You hit a wall physically, and then you hit a wall emotionally. Either way, when you hit this wall, you're going to do one of 2 things. You're going to push through it, or you're going to retreat off it. There's really no other choice. You're going to say, you know what, the wall is here. I got to push through it. I got to retreat off it. Sometimes just a little bit of rest will help you physically to get through the wall. Sometimes you just need to push through it. In the CrossFit community, and every single WOD that we show up with for every day, whether it's a 5:30 a.m. or the 5:30 p.m. WOD, we have an opportunity to hit a wall in our workouts. It's common. I don't care what kind of athlete you are, whether you're an elite or a beginner, you're going to hit a wall in the WOD. And when that happens, you got 2 things you can do. You can push through it, or you can retreat off it. Okay, so what I want to do is just give you a little bit of some emotional, intellectual assets today, and to help you push through that wall, or at least prepare for the wall. I've got this chart up here talking about expectations and abilities. A lot of times as a coach, we have high expectations of our players. A lot of times those abilities don't meet those expectations. When I think about the NBA, the NFL, the NHL, and Major League Baseball, every year there's a draft. Every year there's up-and-coming players that come into this draft. They're very young. The management and the owners and coaches of the teams in the NBA, NFL, NHL, and Major League Baseball have a certain expectation of where these players can go with their abilities. And because they're young, it's interesting that they feel like they can train these players to meet their expectations someday. Whether it's a year, 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, there's going to be a time when hopefully they hit that expectation or they exceed it. And this is where the elite players come in. So in this world of expectations and abilities, there's a couple of interesting things here. The difference, the distance between the high expectation and the low ability, this area in between is a gray area where hope and potential rest. Now, how do we get the expectation and the ability to match? There's 2 things we can do. One, we can decrease the expectation. We could decrease your expectation when you walk into the WOD and say, you know what, I'm only going to do this amount of rounds. We can decrease your goals. We can decrease the results. We can expect less. Okay, that's one way to do it. And I'll tell you, that's actually the easiest way to do it. When you're talking about the expectation and the ability matching, the easiest thing to do is decrease the expectation. The hard thing to do is to increase the ability. In order to increase your ability, you have to increase your time, you have to increase your resources, you have to increase your education towards your skill development, and you have to implement process goals. This is the hardest thing to do, and I'm going to tell you that when we're talking about skill development, an expert, according to Malcolm Gladwell, an expert is when you put 10,000 hours into your one skill. Expert, this is where the elite athletes are at. When you only put 8,000 hours into your skill, that's where teachers sit. So the difference between teachers and expert is about 2,000 hours of repetition. Repetition is the mother of learning. Let me say that again. Repetition is the mother of learning. Repetition is really, really hard because it takes time, it takes money, it takes resources, it takes getting hurt, getting back up. When I got hit in the face with that puck in Kalamazoo, K-Wing Stadium in Kalamazoo, I'll tell you, I hit that wall and it was really painful. Had I known going into my career at that time, if I had a coach that said, listen, you're going to get injured, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, expect it. When you hit this wall, you're going to have to push through it. I didn't have that kind of coaching. And had I had that, I think I would have been able to push through that a little bit further. So let's just talk about this for a second. When you hit the wall. When you are on muscle fatigue, you will hit a wall. So now let's get into the WOD. You're going through the WOD. You're going to have muscle fatigue. You're going to have cardio fatigue. Okay? This is going to happen. The gains are made when you push through the wall. So a couple things you can do to prepare. That's the whole point of this message here. A couple things you can do. On the mental side of things, CrossFit, to me, it skews heavier in mental preparation than it does skill development. Now, I'm not saying that you don't have to skill develop. I'm just saying that there's some things that you can do to mentally prepare for when you hit that wall emotionally that will extend your wall a little bit further. A couple things you can do. You can have a vicarious experience. You can see yourself. You can watch videos online. You can see yourself doing movements as that person is doing the movement. So right now the games are going on, and you know, like we're getting a demo of what each WOD is. You can have that vicarious experience by looking at yourself through the other athlete's eyes and visualize yourself doing the movement, doing the reps. You can have a verbal persuasion. Number 2, verbal persuasion. You can say it. I'm going to do so many reps. You can have an emotional arousal. You can feel it. Okay, this will get you in the physiological state. You can feel it, hear it, smell it, taste it, sweat it before you get into the WOD. Excuse me. This is really exciting because what you can do is you can visually put yourself in the WOD by smelling the gym. Now, that really may like kind of sound weird, but if you can put yourself doing reps, hearing, seeing, smelling the different environment without being in the environment, you're actually tricking your brain. Your brain does not know the difference between you physically doing the movements and you actually doing the movement. Which I love it. When I was 16, I had a really good coach that told me, get to the rink early, sit in the locker room, do kind of a nice walk around the rink, get in the environment, see the puck being ripped. See yourself ripping the puck and the puck hitting the net and dropping below the goal line and you scoring. See yourself raising your hands. Visualize the crowd going crazy. You know, somebody spilling popcorn or getting ketchup down their shirt as you score a goal. Visualize that. Put yourself in that environment so that when it happens, it's not the second time, it's not the first time you've been there, it's the second time you've been there, and that's where the repetition comes in. So you can have an imaginal experience. You can have a physiological state by feeling it, hearing it, smelling it, tasting it, sweating it before you're even there. Have an emotional arousal, saying it, have a vicarious experience, seeing yourself through modeling. These are all 5 things that you can do to prepare yourself for when you hit the wall. So when you're doing the WOD and you get into that situation where, oh, I am mentally and physically tired, how do I push through? You will already have been there maybe 3 or 4 times before you physically have gotten there. This will help you push through. Remember, repetition is a mother of learning. You must dream it before you live it. You can't live it, then dream it. It's not how the world turns. Thanks.